Win big with new DRF All Access Past Performances. With one best-in-class product, you now get all three past performance formats. Go to DRF.com and use coupon code ONEFREEPP for a free single card today.
Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, taking a closer look at Kentucky Derby contender Forever Young, the Japanese sensation who made it 5 for 5 in his career, winning this race, the UAE Derby, in his final Kentucky Derby prep. He traveled very comfortably throughout, sitting outside this pace setter, Mike, and when it counts, he's going to forge on by. Maybe not the strongest field in the world. The horse he runs down as a Southern Hemisphere 3-year-old, and Forever Young was actually getting 10 pounds from that horse. Panda Gate was the North American-based runner of note. He's a New York bred that might just be okay.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't think you necessarily want to get too caught up in the field that he's beating there. I just think you just wanted to see what he would do there, because it felt like when he won the Saudi Derby one start prior to that, going the mile around one turn, I don't know. I don't know about you, Dan. I wasn't, taken with that performance. He worked really hard to get the job done, but this more distance attached, maybe even a better field. He took a pretty big step forward there.
I just think that Saudi Cup race, again, the one-turn mile, some horses, especially in Japan over the years, they go over there and they run completely different over the Saudi surface than at Dubai. To me, it's two completely different surfaces. Forever Young has looked good since day one when he won his debut, going 1 1/8. He sat just off the leaders, split horses, and then just exploded on home to win. And he does look like the best Japanese import to race in the Kentucky Derby. Now, some people might not agree. If you look at the Racing Post ratings for the UAE Derby, here into 113, Derma Sotogake came in off a win with a 121.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's one of the things that you don't have the luxury really of having is American speed figures for this horse. So you kind of got to figure it out a different way as far as that stuff goes. I think, again, the things that you're going to like about this horse is, for the most part, every one of his starts has been really good. Distance is no issue for this horse, and he proved that in that UAE Derby that we just watched, getting more distance to work with, and he won very convincingly in there. And he's just going to ship over here. It feels like there's a lot of steam behind this horse. A lot of people like this horse. He's going to have plenty of interest at the windows in this race. We haven't seen anybody really come over from that UAE Derby, run the Kentucky Derby, and then do all that well. Maybe he can break that curse.
We have yet to see a horse from the UAE Derby win the Kentucky Derby. We've yet to see a Japanese contender win the Kentucky Derby. This one might be the best of all of them. I think we have to talk about how this horse might react to certain factors in the Kentucky Derby. I have a feeling the paces of the races he's been running in Japan, Saudi, Dubai, not as fast as what he's going to see at Churchill Downs. And this horse wore a hood for the first time in the UAE Derby. His trainer said it was because he resents a little bit of kickback. He's going to be outrun in the early stages of the Derby and is likely going to face kickback.
Yeah, exactly. And you could almost see that too, that maybe they were worried about it when you go back to the start of that UAE Derby, Dan, because they did ride him. They wanted him to be forward in there, and they had to ride him to get there. And then once he got his position, they just sort of settled. But they settled on the far outside. They didn't put him over behind horses. They made sure that he was in the clear and that he kept his face clean all the way around the track there. And listen, that just might not be an option for him in the Kentucky Derby, especially if he draws towards the inside.
Yeah, he's one of the horses that post position is going to make a major difference for Forever Young. If he breaks from the outside, maybe he gets some clean air, but then he has to go wide and rally from into it. Talking a little bit about his pedigree, this is a horse they've always thought a lot of. He sold for $720,000 in Japan as a yearling. His sire, Real Steel, was an okay turf horse. His big win actually came in Dubai when he won the Dubai Turf, going 1 1/8. But the dam, and what's most interesting perhaps about Forever Young's pedigree, Mike, is a kind of American pedigree on the bottom. Dam was a Grade 2 stakes winner sprinting on the dirt. She's a half to Heavenly Love who won the Alcibiades and is also the dam of Sierra Leone. The second dam was a multiple stakes winner at Keeneland. The third dam won the Grade 1 Ballerina. So there's plenty of pedigree. You don't worry about distance here. It's just all about whether he's good enough. Where does this horse fit for you right now, as it compares to a horse, let's say, like Fierceness or Sierra Leone or some of the major contenders for this race?
Tough call. I mean, he's certainly in the mix. I think he's a horse that, I find it hard to fall for horses like this, especially when I know that they're going to take money.
Right.
And I think Forever Young's taken money in this race. So, he's not the kind of horse I'd be looking to take a short price on. But as you've already pointed out, like, the form is there anyway. You can go back and watch any one of his races, and you can tell that this horse has talent. He can really run. And you laid out his pedigree too, Dan. I mean, he's really well-bred horse. I'm not worried about the distance with him, but there are other things that you have to concern yourself with. If this horse takes money, it's just your call. How low do you want to go on him, knowing that certain things are going to have to go right for him to run his A race?
This trainer has had a lot of success internationally, sending horses to Del Mar to win Breeders' Cup races. So he at least knows how to ship a horse and win. Forever Young is already at Churchill Downs. The other Japanese contender, T.O. Password's probably not going to get there until April the 26th. So it seems like from that standpoint, everything is going well for Forever Young, and they've handled him well. They could have kept him in Japan. He's the best Japanese 3-year-old by a large margin. He would have gotten an automatic berth if he just ran in the road to the Kentucky Derby points. They waited to the last minute to get points. Remember, the Saudi Cup has no points. The UAE Derby does, so they knew this horse is good.
Yeah, that's a very good point that you made there, Dan. I think that is one of the things about this horse that could go overlooked, because they certainly could have taken the easy path and then showed up, and he would have been an even tougher call in the Derby at that point. Now, at least you have an idea, this horse, he can really, really run. Listen, first Saturday in May, biggest test for this horse for sure, but I don't think anybody'd be shocked if he was up for it.
Unbeaten, Forever Young, 5 for 5 in his career. Perhaps for me, his most impressive performance was his second Lifetime start. That was a race where he fell far behind early over a track with a lot of kickback. It looked like he was in trouble. He was under the whip early. He was able to win. The Saudi race, it didn't look like he was going to get it done. He gutted it out. So he does want to beat you. He does have the ability, the natural ability to be strong in a race like the Kentucky Derby. Really, it's all about price. I think this horse is very, very talented. It's all a question of how low do you go on Forever Young. 5 for 5 in his career, and one of the most intriguing storylines in the 2024 Kentucky Derby.